Hello, Cardinals. It's Mr. Mon. We're going to talk about the Lesson 8 reflection today. On the right side, I believe page 51, it should say reflection. And our focus question is, how can severe storms be tracked in order to predict their impact? Before we start our reflection, we want to review investigation 8.3. You worked with your group to draw a sketch of a storm-resistant building. Now we're going to be talking about that and sharing that design within our class. And then on our objective page, we're going to be looking at number 6 and answering the question, what do you think was the most important factor in creating a storm-resistant building? So we'll be including that on our objective page. Our reflection today is going to focus once again on learning about design techniques for minimizing damage caused by storms and developing our own design for a storm-resistant building. Our vocab word, our one vocabulary word for lesson 8 was storm surge. That can be found on page 118 in the textbook. A storm surge is an unusually high water level caused primarily by strong winds, especially those associated with a hurricane. So, as you look at the diagram here, you have the tide that factors in the swelling due to the low pressure system. It causes the tide to go abnormally high. And then the storm surge is caused by the wind blowing that bubble of water inland. So as you look at this diagram, this would be the average sea level, the mean sea level right here. And then you might have a high tide because of the sun and the moon. And then the storm tide caused by the low pressure system that's swelling. And then you get that storm surge. So we've talked a lot about this, and you are expected to know this for the quiz. Our reflection today, the first thing you're going to be doing is answering some questions in our notebook and then sharing those answers within your group. 1A talks about investigation 1.8 and defining the independent and dependent variables. 1B is the relationship between the height of the surge and other variables. So what causes the height of the surge? 1C, think about what you learned in investigation 8.2 and 8.3. And what plans do you think your family should make before a disaster such as a hurricane or tornado strikes? So thinking about how you would plan as a family. And 1D, reflecting on what you learned in those investigations, you need to think about what the local government, the city, the town, the county should make in advance of a major storm. Step 2 is within your group, you're going to be presenting your building designs and explaining what storm-resistant features of your design, and then answering the questions any of your classmates have. And then after you're done, you need to modify your design based on what your classmates' input tells you should do. And then for number 3, you should discuss with your group how data is used to predict the likelihood of disasters and the severity of that disaster. And you're going to be sharing those ideas with the class also. Finally, you have a KWL chart to work on that can be found on Google Classroom. So our to-do list today is steps 1 through 4. You're going to be working a little bit by yourself and a little bit in groups. You have a handful of textbook pages to read, 132 to 139. Make sure your vocabulary is done. Remember, we just have one, the word storm surge. There is an exit slip, and prepare for tomorrow's quiz. If you have any questions, please let your teacher know.